on, everybody? Scott Lenard back here by myself. My dad's at work. Let's get into my college football and NFL predictions for this weekend. First game out, our non-top 25 game of the week, UCF and Florida Atlantic. From Boca on tomorrow night. UCF favored by 8 points. I will take UCF to play much better this week. Hopefully, Justin Malzahn learned his lesson from last week. Get a little more aggressive, start running the ball a little more, and hopefully UCF can win this one. I'll take UCF on the road to get their second win of the season. Now into the games on Saturday. First game out, South Florida going against a very upset Florida team coming off a tough loss last week to Kentucky. I will take Florida, another night game for the Gators here on the SEC Network. I will take Florida at home in the Swamp. Favored by 24 points. I'll take Florida over USF. Next up, the reigning national champion Georgia Bulldogs open up the SEC play for them as they head into William Brice Stadium to take on the South Carolina Gamecocks. I will take Georgia on the road. I think Georgia's going to, again, do very well this year in the SEC. I'll take Georgia on the road over South Carolina. Next up, UConn heading in to the Big House to take on Jim Harbaugh and Michigan. Michigan favored by 47.5 points. I will take Michigan at home to get it done over UConn. Next up, Oklahoma taking on a coachless Nebraska Cornhuskers team after they fired Scott Frost earlier this week. I will take Oklahoma on the road to get it done here against Nebraska. Next up, Youngstown State heading into Kroger Field to take on the number 9 ranked Kentucky Wildcats. I will take Kentucky at home. I think Kentucky is a very good team. They absolutely were the better team last week. I'll take Kentucky over Youngstown State this week. Next up, Texas State heading into Waco and McLean Stadium to take on the 17th ranked Baylor Bears coming off a loss last week to BYU. I will take Baylor at home to get it done here against Texas State. Next up, speaking of BYU, they head into Eugene and Austin Stadium to take on Oregon. Give me BYU to pull off the upset on the road. I think BYU's had a good week last week against Baylor. I think they're a better team. I think Baylor's a better team than Oregon. So I'll take BYU on the road to get it done against Oregon. Next up, Ole Miss and Georgia Tech. This will be the week that we find out how good Georgia Tech is. I'm going to take Ole Miss and their team to get it done here on the road. I think Ole Miss is going to be very good this year again. So I'll take Ole Miss on the road over Georgia Tech. Next up, Penn State and Auburn. Give me James Franklin, Shaw Clifford, and Penn State to get it done on the road in Jordan-Hare Stadium against Auburn. Next up, Louisiana Monroe heading in to Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa to take on Nick Saban and the number 2 ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. 49.5 point favorites are Alabama this week. I will take Alabama at home. After a scare last week, I think Alabama is not going to underestimate any opponent now after that huge scare they had last week against Texas. Next up, the Liberty Flames heading in to Winston-Salem, North Carolina to take on Wake Forest. Sam Hartman is back after that horrible injury he had last season. I will take Wake Forest at home over Liberty. Next up, the Toledo Rockets heading in to the Horseshoe to take on number 3 ranked Ohio State. I will take the Buckeyes at home. I think Ohio State's a very good team. C.J. Stroud could be probably the best quarterback in college football this year between him and Bryce Young. So I'll take Ohio State at home over Toledo. Next up, Arkansas Pine Bluff heading into Stillwater to take on Oklahoma State. I will take Oklahoma State here at home. I think it should be no problem here again. I'll take Oklahoma State at home over Arkansas Pine Bluff this week. Next up, Missouri State heading into Fayetteville to take on the number 10 ranked Arkansas Razorbacks. I'm going to take Arkansas at home. Arkansas has proven to me the last 2 weeks that they are a very good team. So I'll take Arkansas at home over Missouri State. Next up, Akron heading in to Neyland Stadium in Knoxville to take on Josh Heupel and number 15 ranked Tennessee. Tennessee favored by 47.5 points this week. I'm going to go with Tennessee. Tennessee Looks very good. I said last week they would beat Pittsburgh, and they did beat them in overtime. So I'll take Tennessee at home over Akron. Next up, Texas Tech coming off a good win last week against Houston. As they head in to Carter Finley Stadium in Raleigh to take on NC State. I will take NC State here at home. I think NC State's a very good team. They looked a little bit shaky week one, but I think they played much better last week, so I'll take NC State at home over Texas Tech. Next up, Michigan State heading into Husky Stadium in Seattle to take on Washington. I will take Michigan State on the road to get it done here over Washington. I think Michigan State's a better team, so I'll take Michigan State on the road over Washington. Next up, Pitt heading into Kalamazoo to take on Western Michigan. I'm going to take Pitt on the road to get it done here against Western Michigan. I think this is a very good team. I'll take Pitt to get it done over Western Michigan. Next up, La Tech heading into Columbia, South Carolina to take on number 5 ranked Clemson. I'll take Clemson at home here. I think Clemson's got better quarterback play this year. I'll take Clemson at home over Louisiana Tech. Next up, the UTSA Roadrunners heading in to Darrell K. Royal Texas Memorial Stadium in Austin to take on the number 21 ranked Texas Longhorns, coming off a very heartbreaking loss last week. I will take Texas at home over UTSA. Next up, and probably one of the best games of the weekend, is it'll be number 24 ranked Texas A&M heading in, hosting number 13 Miami. Give me Texas A&M at home. I think Jimbo Fisher's going to talk some sense into these guys. After losing last week, I think Texas A&M bounces back this week and gets it done. Next up, San Diego State and Utah. Give me Utah to get it done. Utah knows they can't lose another game if they want to make the college football playoff this year, so I'm going to take Utah at home over San Diego State. In the final game of the weekend, 10:30 p.m. on Fox, if people want to stay up to watch this game, as it'll be Fresno State heading in to the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum to take on the number 7 ranked Southern California Trojans. I will take USC at home to get it done here in this game. I think USC is a better team, so I'll take USC here at home. And now the college game day game of the week. And it'll be the Troy Trojans heading in to Boone, North Carolina to take on Appalachian State. College game day will be there tomorrow morning. Give me App State. App State looked absolutely phenomenal last week with that win over Texas A&M. So I'll take App State to get it done here with college game day in town. I'm going to take App State at home over Troy. And now into the NFL games for the week. I am 1-0 already on the week after picking the Chiefs to beat the Chargers last night. First game out on Sunday is it'll be Tom Brady and the Bucs heading into New Orleans to take on Jameis Winston and the Saints. I'm going to have to go with the Saints here at home. I just think Jameis Winston's going to outplay Tom Brady this week because Tom Brady doesn't have his receivers this week. I think most of our receivers are banged up this week. I hope I get this pick wrong.
You will.
But until I see it, I just don't think it's going to happen. I'm going to take the Saints over the Bucs. Next up, Joe Flacco and the New York Jets heading into Cleveland to take on the Browns. Give me the Browns to get another win without Deshaun Watson this week. I think the Browns are going to play very well this week. Give me the Browns at home over the Jets. Next up, the Washington Commanders heading in to Detroit to take on the Lions. The Lions looked very good last week in a loss to the Eagles. I'm going to take the Lions at home. I think the Lions are a very good team. I'm going to take the Lions to get it done here at home over the Washington Commanders. Next up, the Carolina Panthers heading in to MetLife Stadium to take on Danny Dimes and the 1-0 New York Giants. I'm going to take the G-Men at home. I think the Giants are going to play very well this week again. Saquon Barkley looks like a new man after how he played last week. I'll take Danny Dimes and the G-Men to get it done here at home over Carolina. Next up, and probably the most boring game of the weekend, is it'll be Mac Jones and the New England Patriots heading into Pittsburgh to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to go with the Steelers at home. I think this could be a very low-scoring game. Neither of these offenses impressed me last week, but I think Mitch Trubisky will get it done, and I think the Steelers will get a win here at home over the Pats. Next up, the Indianapolis Colts heading into Jacksonville to take on Trevor Lawrence and the Jags. Give me Jonathan Taylor and Matt Ryan to get it done here on the road. They learned their lesson from last season when the Jaguars kept them out of the playoffs. I'm going to go with Matt Ryan, Jonathan Taylor, and the Indianapolis Colts to get their first win of the season here at home, on the road in Jacksonville. Next up, and probably one of the best games of the weekend, is Tua and the Dolphins heading in to Baltimore to take on Lamar Action Jackson and the Ravens. Give me the Ravens at home. I think the Ravens are a very good team. Both of these teams are probably playoff teams this year. But I'm going to go with home field advantage here. I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson and the Ravens to get it done here at home over the Dolphins. Next up it'll be Marcus Mariota, who looks much better than I thought he would last week, and the Atlanta Falcons heading into SoFi Stadium to take on the 0-1 Los Angeles Rams. I'm going to go with Matt Stafford and the Rams to get back on track this week. I think they're going to be very upset after that performance they showed last Thursday night. So I'm going to go with Matt Stafford and the Rams to get it done here at home over the Falcons. Next up, and probably one of the biggest surprises of the weekend, is it'll be Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks heading in to San Francisco to take on Trey Lance and the Niners. 69 degrees on Sunday afternoon. I'm gonna go with Trey Lance and the Niners to get it done here at home. I think the Niners are a better team than Seattle. The weather definitely affected how the Niners played last week, and that absolute downpour in Chicago last week. I'll take the Niners at home to get it done against Seattle. Next up it'll be Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals heading into Big D to take on Cooper Rush and the Dallas Cowboys. Give me Joe Burrow to play much better this week. I think Burrow's not going to make as many mistakes as he did last week. I'm going to go with Joe Burrow and the Bengals to get it done here on the road in Dallas to get it done against the Cowboys. Next up, the Houston Texans heading into Denver to take on Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos. My eliminator pick of the week. Do not let me down this week, Denver. I'm going to take the Broncos to win this game. My cousin Steven was texting me earlier this week saying that Russell Wilson's done. He's no longer a good quarterback. It's only week one. I think Denver's going to get the win here at home over the Texans. Next up, the Arizona Cardinals heading in to Vegas and Allegiant Stadium to take on Derek Carr and the Raiders. Give me Derek Carr and the Las Vegas Raiders to get it done here at home. The Cardinals just did not show me anything positive last week against the Chiefs. I'm going to go with the Raiders here at home to get it done over the Cardinals. Now into Sunday Night Football, as it'll be Justin Fields and the Bears heading in to Lambeau Field to take on Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. 74 degrees on Sunday night. I don't think Aaron Rodgers looks as bad as he did last week, so I'm going to take the Packers here at home in Lambeau Field. We had the same problem last year. Everyone was panicking about Green Bay last year after they lost to the Saints in Week 1. I think they play very well this week. I'm going to take Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers to get it done here at home over the Chicago Bears. Next up, two games on Monday Night Football this week. First game out, it'll be Derrick Henry and the Tennessee Titans coming off that upset loss to the New York Giants last week as they head into Buffalo to take on Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. 68 degrees on Monday night. I'm going to take Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills to get it done here at home. The Bills are a much better team than the Titans. So I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills to get it done here at home over the Tennessee Titans. Final game of the weekend is it'll be Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings heading into Philly to take on Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to take the Vikings. I think this is my upset pick of the week again. I'm going to take, they didn't let me down last week. I don't think they let me down again this week. I'll take Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings to get done here on the road in Philly against the Philadelphia Eagles. And that will do it for this episode of Scott's Reading Sports Day, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be back here next week with my Week 4 college football predictions and my Week 3 NFL predictions. And I'll see you guys right back here next week on Scott Speaking Sports. See you later, guys.